There are moments when just one message can undo you. You're going about your day. Maybe you've been doing well, keeping your cool, staying focused. Then it happens. A short text appears, or an unexpected email. You read it once, then again, and suddenly your heart rate jumps, your stomach tightens, thoughts spiral. What did they mean by that? Did I mess up? Are they pulling away? You try to brush it off, but a subtle tension hijacks your entire body. You're not in control anymore. Something small, just words on a screen, has pulled you out of yourself. And here's the part no one talks about. This isn't about the message. It's about the grip it has on your mind. You've read the books, maybe even done therapy. You've told yourself to let go, stay calm, be rational. But when life presses the right button, the button buried deep in your nervous system, it all unravels. The calm wasn't real. It was just the absence of pressure. And that's when the fear creeps in. If something so small can undo me, what does that say about my strength? Let's be honest. Most of what passes as mental strength today is performative. It's about appearances, being unbothered, acting cool, suppressing feelings until they explode elsewhere. But real strength isn't about pretending nothing gets to you. It's about knowing how to stay centered when everything tries to pull you apart from the inside out. That's why Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's survival training. Not for monks in caves or philosophers in robes, but for people like you, facing life with unpaid bills, aging parents, mind games at work, emotional traps in texts, and the endless noise of modern anxiety. In this video, we'll go through 5 powerful Stoic practices that can help you build a kind of mental strength so solid, so grounded, that even the sharpest triggers won't shake it. These aren't vague affirmations or empty positivity. They are hard-earned tools passed down for centuries, used by warriors, emperors, and survivors of loss, betrayal, and chaos. And no, they won't make the world gentler, but they will make you undisturbable in the face of it. Because here's the truth. What breaks you isn't the event. It's the lack of internal preparation for it. So if you're tired of being yanked around by people's moods, news cycles, or your own overthinking mind, if you want real peace, not as a lucky mood, but as a trained discipline, then stay. You're exactly where you need to be. Let's begin with the first Stoic practice, negative visualization, or as the ancient Stoics called it, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of loss, difficulty, or even death. It sounds dark, but it might just be the most powerful training ground for your inner strength. Most people avoid thinking about loss. They assume that the job will always be there, that the people they love will always come home, that their body will keep functioning the way it did in their 30s. But that assumption, though comforting, is dangerous. It breeds fragility, because when something does go wrong, and it will, your mind isn't ready. And that's how the smallest cracks become emotional landslides. You ever scroll through old photos and feel like you're looking at a different lifetime? Not just the faces or the setting, but the feeling. You realize that moment is gone. That version of me is gone. That person is no longer here. And it hits you like a wave. That's not just sadness. It's shock, because you never imagined it ending. Seneca, one of the most emotionally grounded minds of Stoicism, wrote, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." When you train yourself to imagine loss, you soften its blow before it lands. Here's how to practice it, step by step. Sit in silence each morning for 3-5 minutes. No phone, no distractions. Pick one thing or person you care deeply about: your partner, your health, your home, even your sight. Ask yourself, what if I lost this today? What would I regret not noticing? Visualize that loss vividly, Don't just say it, see it. Imagine the silence, the empty room, the stillness. Let the discomfort rise, but don't flinch. Then breathe and open your eyes. Move into your day with that deeper awareness. It's uncomfortable, but that's the point. Because after a few days, you'll notice something shift. You say thank you more. You hold people longer when you hug. You stop scrolling during meals. You stop assuming. You become present not by force, but by clarity. And the next time something gets taken from you, and you won't crumble like you used to. You'll feel the grief, yes, but not the shock. A deeper part of you will whisper, "You trained for this." That's not emotional numbness, that's spiritual armor. Stoicism doesn't ask you to enjoy pain. It asks you to expect it. And in that expectation, to build a version of yourself that won't shatter when life delivers its next blow. Because the world will never warn you before it takes something. So don't wait for the warning. Build your readiness now. Second, we turn to one of the most foundational teachings in all of Stoic philosophy, and yet, the one most people ignore until they're on the edge of a breakdown: the dichotomy of control. It sounds simple, too simple, maybe. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, lately chronic stress, emotional fatigue, a sense that no matter how much you try, you never feel at peace, this practice may be the one thing that saves your sanity. Here's the truth. Stoicism confronts head-on. Some things are up to you, and some things are not. That's it. That's the filter. Your job? To cut the rope between yourself and everything you can't truly hold. Let's test this in real time. Think of something that's been bothering you this week. Something that hijacked your mind, kept you overthinking, maybe even ruined your sleep. A conversation that didn't go as planned. A co-worker's behavior. Your child's decisions. The market. Your body not healing fast enough. Now ask, do I control the outcome or only my response to it? If the answer is only my response, then continuing to obsess over it is emotional self-harm. This isn't denial. It's choosing to reallocate your energy toward what you can influence. Epictetus said it like a blade. Some things are within our power, while others are not. We are disturbed, not by things, but by the view we take of them. Read that again. Not by things, but by our view of them. When you waste your inner resources trying to fix what doesn't belong to you people's opinions, market shifts, past events, you create tension where there could be clarity. You suffer not from the weight itself, but from holding what was never yours to carry. Here's how to practice this. Take a blank sheet of paper, draw a vertical line down the middle. On the left side, write, "What I'm stressed about." Dump everything raw, messy, real. On the right side, write, "What I control in this." And be brutal. If you can't directly influence it, it doesn't go here. Now burn or delete the left side. What's left is your mission. You do this daily, you'll start feeling 10 pounds lighter without losing a single ounce. Here's a rule you can tattoo on your life. If it's not in your hands, stop letting it live in your head. You'll still care, you'll still feel, but your peace won't be hostage to the winds of the world. That's not apathy, that's strength. Because the people around you, they're waiting to see if you'll break. The pressure, the chaos, the unpredictability, they're testing you. And this simple practice, it's how you pass the test without saying a word. You stop clinging to what isn't yours. You hold firm to what is. And you walk forward with both hands free. Third, let's talk about something almost no one in modern life wants to hear. You're too comfortable. And that comfort is weakening you. Before you protest, pause. This isn't about money or privilege. This is about how your nervous system responds to the tiniest challenge. A late email, a cold shower, a skipped coffee, a no from someone you hoped would say yes. These shouldn't break you, but for many people today they do. Why? Because we've built lives designed for frictionless ease, and in doing so, we've lost psychological resilience. The Stoics had an antidote. They called it voluntary discomfort, training the mind by training the body. Seneca wrote, "Set aside now and then a number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" The point wasn't to suffer for suffering's sake. It was to expose the lie we all believe. If I don't have comfort, I won't be okay. When you practice discomfort on purpose, you destroy that illusion. Here's how to practice voluntary discomfort. Pick one discomfort per day, something safe but challenging. Then do it mindfully, without resistance. Examples: walk instead of drive, fast until noon, sleep without your usual pillow, take a cold shower, go somewhere without your phone, say no to something you usually say yes to out of habit. The trick isn't just doing it, it's observing your reaction. Notice how fast your mind tries to negotiate, how it resists, how it dramatizes. Then remind yourself, this is how I build my edge. Not by enduring trauma, but by choosing controlled adversity. Most people spend their lives avoiding pain at all costs. But avoidance doesn't make you stronger. It makes you anxious. Because, deep down, you know, if something goes wrong, I won't be ready. Voluntary discomfort flips that script. It tells your mind, I've been in pain before and I was okay. I've lost convenience before and I stayed grounded. Every moment of chosen discomfort is a quiet rehearsal for real-life chaos. You're not shocked when the power goes out, or when plans fall through, or when you get bad news, because your body doesn't panic at the first sign of deviation. You've trained for discomfort the same way a warrior trains for battle, before the arrows start flying. So the next time something feels inconvenient, ask yourself, what if this is the weight I need to carry so I don't collapse when life gets heavier? There's freedom on the other side of discomfort. Not because the pain disappears, but because your mind no longer fears it. That's resilience. And it's not found in more comfort. It's built in the fire you choose to step into, one small flame at a time. Fourth, we move into territory that's more subtle, but arguably more dangerous than loss or discomfort. It's your own mind. More specifically, the stories it tells when something doesn't go your way. You know the drill. You don't get a reply. And the mind says, they're avoiding me. A project gets cancelled. I failed again. I'm just not good enough. Someone criticizes you. They never respected me in the first place. A moment of quiet turns into a spiral. A minor event becomes a catastrophe. And you're no longer responding to reality. You're reacting to a narrative your brain invented. This is where Stoic reframing comes in. The core belief? It's not what happens that hurts you, it's what you think it means. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. Let that settle." Not the thing, your judgment about the thing. That doesn't mean your feelings are fake, but it does mean they're optional. And if you want to build real mental strength, you have to learn to question your automatic interpretations, like your inner peace depends on it, because it does. Here's how to practice Stoic reframing. The next time something triggers you emotionally, pause before reacting. Write down what happened, just the facts. No backstory, no assumptions. Example: they didn't respond to my message. Now write 3 alternative explanations. They're overwhelmed. They forgot. It's not about me. Ask, which version of this story helps me stay grounded? Which one makes me wiser, not just emotionally satisfied? You're not looking for a flattering lie. You're looking for a frame that gives you clarity, not chaos. Reframing isn't about pretending things don't hurt. It's about choosing the version of the story that helps you respond with strength instead of spiraling into self-doubt. Because once a story takes root, it becomes a belief. And beliefs shape how you see the world and yourself. Let's go deeper. What about failure, rejection, grief? Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how might this be working for me? What strength is this trying to reveal? Even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. This shift in framing turns pain into a teacher, not a jailer. When your thoughts begin to spin out, when your inner monologue starts dragging you under, stop, breathe, and ask, is this truth, or just the version that hurts the most? The strongest minds don't believe every emotion. They challenge the story, and in doing so, they reclaim their freedom. You can't stop what happens, but you can reclaim how you see it. And sometimes, that small shift, it's the difference between collapsing and rising. Fifth and final, we arrive at what might be the simplest yet most overlooked Stoic habit: evening reflection. It doesn't require a philosophy degree. It doesn't need a journal full of prompts. Just 10 minutes. And your honesty. Because here's a quiet truth. No one tells you. Most people have no idea how they actually lived their day. You ask them, how was today? They say, busy, exhausting, same as always. But if you press deeper, what did you feel? What did you avoid? What did you do well? They go blank. Why? Because they were never really with themselves in the first place. They moved, reacted, consumed, responded, but they didn't reflect. They were acted upon, rather than acting from within. And over time, that creates something more dangerous than stress. It creates drift, that quiet slide away from who you are and what matters. The Stoics knew this drift well, and they refused to let it go unchecked. Seneca, in one of his most famous letters, described his nightly ritual. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I have done and said. He didn't do this to punish himself. He did it to regain authorship. Because a day unexamined is a pattern repeated. And if you repeat enough days unconsciously, you wake up in a life you no longer recognize. Here's how to practice evening reflection. Set aside 10 minutes at night. No phone, no distraction. This is your debrief with yourself. Ask these 3 questions. Where today did I act on impulse instead of principle? What moment made me proud to be me? If I had to relive one choice today, what would I do differently? Write it down, just speak it aloud. End with one small intention for tomorrow. Something clear, real, doable. It sounds simple, but do this consistently for 7 nights, and something strange happens. You stop floating. You start driving. There's science behind this, too. Studies in behavioral psychology have found that daily journaling and reflection reduce anxiety, improve sleep, and build emotional regulation. Why? Because the brain craves closure, and when you don't give it closure, it keeps replaying the day while you try to sleep. Reflection is mental digestion. You don't just live the day, you process it. You extract meaning. You notice patterns. You self-correct. And slowly, you become someone who's not just reacting to life, but refining yourself through it. Evening reflection isn't about being perfect. It's about being present with who you were and who you're becoming. You don't need to write pages. You don't need to confess sins. You just need to look back with courage, so you can walk forward with clarity. Tonight, don't just collapse into bed. Sit, ask, listen, and close the day before the day closes you. Because when tomorrow comes, you'll be ready to begin again. Not as a passenger, but as the one who holds the wheel. Let's go back to that moment. The one that started it all. The message. The pause. The spiral you didn't see coming. You thought you were fine. You'd been calm, productive, even peaceful maybe. Then just one sentence, and you lost your breath. That wasn't just about someone else's words. It was a signal that somewhere, beneath all the coping, you still hadn't fortified your mind. You weren't broken. You were untrained. Now, you're different. Because instead of pretending pain doesn't exist, you've learned to look it in the eye before it arrives. You've rehearsed loss, so you don't crumble when it visits. You've released control over what was never yours, and taken full command of what is, your responses, your framing, your rituals. You've practiced hardship on your own terms, so that life's terms don't break you. You've started questioning the stories that once ruled your mood, and built a nightly ritual of self-honesty most people will never dare touch. That's not inspiration. That's internal evolution. Let's be clear. The storm will still come. You'll still feel loss, confusion, fear. But here's what's changed. You won't shake the way you used to. Because now, when pressure hits, you don't flinch. You anchor. You breathe. You return to what you've practiced. And that difference? That's everything. The strongest people you know aren't untouched by suffering. They're simply no longer surprised by it. They don't resist reality, they respond to it. With clarity, with structure, with something deeper than mood. Discipline of the soul. And that's what you've been building. Not a version of yourself that escapes the chaos, but one that walks through it and stays intact. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You don't just understand that now. You've lived it, one practice at a time. You've gone from consuming Stoicism to becoming it. That's the quiet shift no algorithm can capture. The moment when philosophy stops being content and starts becoming your default instinct under pressure. Most people will never get here. They'll keep watching videos, quoting Stoics, hoping that reading is enough. But not you, because you didn't just listen, you practiced. You built the muscles no one sees, until everything starts falling apart, and you're still standing. There's a moment, after you've trained long enough, when you stop looking for peace out there. You stop hoping that life will get easier. You stop expecting people to change. And instead, you prepare yourself. That's where you are now. Not just someone who knows Stoicism, but someone who's tasted it. In your mornings, in your thoughts, in how you end each day. You've stopped chasing control and started mastering response. You've stopped wishing for comfort and started choosing discomfort that sharpens you. You've stopped believing every story your mind tells you and started rewriting the ones that matter. You've gone from reacting blindly to responding deliberately. And that's power. It's quiet. It won't get applause. No one will post about it, but it will show up. When your world wobbles, and you don't, it will show up. When someone disappoints you, and you remain composed, it will show up. When the plans fall apart, and you keep moving without panic. That's Stoicism, not a cold detachment, but a warm, grounded clarity that doesn't collapse under pressure. And maybe, as you sit here now, something in you has shifted. You've seen what's possible when discipline replaces distraction. You've glimpsed what it feels like to live with intention, not just momentum, that feeling. Hold onto it, because the world outside this screen, it will try to pull it away from you. With noise, with urgency, with fear. But you've built something now, not a wall, but a center. And that center is yours to return to anytime the storm rises. So don't let this just be a good video. Let it be a beginning, a blueprint, a commitment to show up for yourself again and again, quietly, consistently. Because resilience isn't built once. It's rehearsed daily. And every day you return to these 5 practices, you carve out more space inside yourself that the world can't touch. There's nothing flashy about this path, but it's real, and it's rare. Most will keep consuming ideas. Few will live them. You've already crossed that threshold. Now the only question is, will you carry it forward? If this message speaks to something you've been carrying quietly, hit subscribe and tell me, which of these 5 practices are you ready to try first? I'll be reading. I'll be right here.